I stood in the corner of the crowded room, a glass of cheap champagne in hand, the bubbles rising like my hopes. The annual Christmas party was supposed to be a celebration of our hard work, a moment to relax and embrace the spirit of the season. But as I watched my boss, Gregory Hale, move through the throng of employees with his usual swagger, I felt that familiar knot of anxiety tighten in my stomach. "Lily, come join us." A voice broke through my thoughts. It was Mia, my closest friend at the firm. She wore a red dress that sparkled under the twinkling fairy lights, her bright smile a stark contrast to the shadows creeping in the corners of my mind. I forced a smile, but it felt heavy. "Just a moment. I'm enjoying the view." Mia rolled her eyes playfully. "It's a Christmas party, not a funeral. Come on, let's get some eggnog. It'll loosen you up." With a resigned sigh, I followed her, the distant laughter of my colleagues blending into the background noise. I tried to shake off the heaviness that had settled in my chest, the gnawing realization that my position at Hale Enterprises was precarious at best. As Mia and I approached the bar, I noticed Gregory holding court among a group of executives, his booming laughter cutting through the murmurs of the crowd. He was charismatic, charming even, but beneath that polished exterior lay a ruthlessness that had cost me dearly in the last few months. I couldn't shake the feeling that my fate hung by a thread. "Lily, there you are." He spotted me and made his way over, a smile plastered across his face. I could feel the tension crackling in the air. "Gregory," I greeted, trying to keep my tone neutral. He leaned in, his breath slightly sour from the wine. "I've been meaning to talk to you. You've done great work this year. I appreciate your effort." A flicker of hope ignited in my chest, but I quickly snuffed it out. Flattery was often a prelude to bad news. "Thanks," I replied, forcing a smile. "I'm glad to be part of the team." He straightened, his gaze shifting beyond me. "You know how it is in business. Sometimes hard decisions have to be made." My heart raced, the words reverberating in my mind like a drum roll before an execution. "What do you mean?" "Let's save that for later. Enjoy the party, okay?" He clapped me on the shoulder, then moved back into the crowd, leaving me feeling hollow. Mia returned with 2 cups of eggnog, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Did he just compliment you? What's the occasion? Christmas miracles?" I chuckled weakly, but the laughter felt brittle. "I think it's more like a prelude to a firing." "Don't be ridiculous. You're one of the best in the company." "Best at what?" "Getting thrown under the bus." I looked away, trying to mask the growing dread. "Lily," Mia exclaimed, her voice rising in concern. "You have to stop thinking that way. You're too talented to let his mood swings get to you." I watched as Gregory erupted into laughter with his group, his voice booming over the music. It was a facade, I reminded myself, one I had learned to navigate but could never quite break through. The evening wore on, the energy in the room bubbling with festivities, but I felt increasingly disconnected. Mia dragged me onto the dance floor, where we twirled and laughed, but I could still sense the storm brewing on the horizon. Then, as the clock struck 9, Gregory grabbed the microphone and called for attention. The room quieted, anticipation crackling in the air. "Thank you all for being here tonight. This year has been challenging, but together, we've achieved remarkable results. I'd like to take a moment to honor a few individuals." I stood frozen as he began to list names, each one punctuated by applause. My heart sank lower with each mention, the hope of recognition slipping away like sand through my fingers. "And now, I regret to announce that we will be making some changes in the coming year. Changes that will impact our team structure." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead. His eyes scanned the room, landing on me. "Lily, I'm sorry to say that your position will be eliminated." The world went still. "What?" My voice was barely above a whisper, barely loud enough to cut through the shock. "Come on up here. Let's give her a proper send-off." The laughter faded, replaced by a suffocating silence as I stepped forward, my legs feeling leaden. I could hardly breathe. "Gregory, wait. Let's not make this awkward. You've done great work, but the company is moving in a different direction." "Different direction?" "You're firing me at the Christmas party." I couldn't keep the incredulity out of my voice. Now, no hard feelings," he said, waving a dismissive hand. "It's just business. You'll land on your feet." "Just business." The words tasted bitter. "This isn't just business to me. This is my career." He smirked, that infuriatingly smug glint in his eye. "You'll thank me later. You're too talented to be stuck here." As I turned to leave the stage, a wave of laughter erupted from the crowd, but it felt like an echo of my humiliation. I could feel the heat rising in my cheeks as I stormed away, the sound of clinking glasses and holiday cheer fading into a distant memory. Lily. Mia rushed to my side, her voice filled with concern. Are you okay? Am I okay? I spat, anger bubbling within me. I just got fired in front of everyone. Let's get out of here, she urged, but I shook my head. No. I want to confront him. Lily, don't. But I pushed through the crowd, my heart racing with indignation. I found him in the back, laughing with his wife, Vanessa, who wore a knowing smile. Gregory, I said, my voice steady, but my insides churned with fury. This isn't over. Lily, you're overreacting. He dismissed me with a wave of his hand, but I stepped closer, fists clenched at my sides. Overreacting? You've ruined my life. Vanessa's laughter cut through the tension. Oh, sweetie, you're still young. You'll find another job. You're not special. Not special. I scoffed, incredulity washing over me. You think this is a game? Gregory leaned back, crossing his arms with a smug grin. You'll see. You'll thank me later. Thank you for nothing. I shot back. You've made a terrible mistake. Lily, Vanessa interjected, tilting her head. Maybe it's time you accepted your fate. You're not CEO material. The word stung more than I expected. CEO? I'm not even an employee anymore. Maybe you should aim higher next time, Gregory said, laughter ringing in his voice. I turned on my heel, the heat of humiliation washing over me as I stormed out of the party, leaving the laughter behind. The cold air hit me like a slap, and I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm within. The streetlights flickered, casting long shadows on the pavement as I walked away from the building. Lily, wait, Mia called, rushing to catch up. I can't believe this, I murmured, shaking my head. I thought I was doing well. I thought I mattered. You do matter. This is just a setback. I stopped and faced her, frustration boiling over. You don't understand. I gave everything to that job. I sacrificed time, energy, friendships for what? To be humiliated in front of everyone. Her gaze softened, and she placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. You're stronger than this. You'll find a way to turn it around. You have a vision, Lily. You've always had one. I wanted to believe her, but the weight of betrayal felt heavier than the chill in the air. What am I supposed to do now? Let's get some food, clear your head. You can't let him have the last laugh. As we walked together, the city lights blurred, and I felt the anger morph into determination. Gregory and Vanessa thought they could break me, but they didn't know me at all. Days turned into weeks, and the sting of that night lingered, but I poured everything into rebuilding. I updated my resume, connected with former colleagues, and focused on honing my skills. I attended networking events, even met with a few mentors who believed in my potential. One evening, while scrolling through job listings, I spotted an opening at a startup that aligned with my vision. My heart raced. This could be it. With renewed vigor, I tailored my application, pouring my passion into every word. I hit send, and for the first time since the party, I felt a flicker of hope. Weeks later, I sat in a sleek conference room, surrounded by a team that was eager to innovate. As I spoke about my ideas, I could see their eyes lighting up. This is exactly the vision we need, the CEO said, nodding appreciatively. I felt a rush of adrenaline, a sense of belonging I hadn't felt in ages. After a few months, I had climbed to a managerial position, my ideas turning into projects that brought in revenue. The atmosphere was electric, and I was finally thriving. Then one evening, as I stepped out of the office, my phone buzzed with a notification. It was a message from Mia, with a photo attached. Guess who's back at it? The picture showed Gregory, standing at a podium at a company conference, looking every bit the part of a man who had it all. I couldn't help but smile. Look at him, thinking he's the king of the world. I muttered, but it felt different now. Lily, you're the one who's going to take the crown, Mia replied, her words ringing true. As I walked down the street, the lights twinkling above me, I finally understood that my worth wasn't tied to a single position or a single person's opinion. I was more than just an employee. I was a force to be reckoned with, and I would carve my own path. When I received a call for a speaking engagement at a major conference, I couldn't help but laugh. CEO, huh? I whispered to myself, recalling Vanessa's dismissive tone. With a smirk, I accepted the invitation, feeling the fire of determination blaze within me. I wasn't just going to rise from the ashes. I was going to soar. And as I stood before an audience, sharing my journey, I realized that the fire of betrayal had forged me into something stronger. I was no longer the girl who had been fired at a Christmas party. I was a woman who had taken control of her destiny. "Thank you, everyone," I said, my voice steady. "This is just the beginning." The applause that followed felt like a victory, a sweet reminder that sometimes the greatest setbacks lead to the most extraordinary comebacks.